Guys, I hate to say it, but I even took the glasses off. You know this video is serious. I'm going to be selling all my crypto. I'm going to be exiting all markets. I'm going to be dumping everything because of what I'm seeing in the markets right now, and I want to talk about this in the video. That being said, there are two things you need to keep in mind when I say this. Point A, very important. That day is not today, motherfucker. Point B, the only time you're going to be seeing me sell my bags in the future is because I'm so cosmically fucking up, I'm going to be buying the entire state of Wyoming with 1% of my bags. If you're a girl watching this video right now and your boyfriend is selling coins right now on this dip, I have bad news for you. You're a fucking lesbo. You're dating a girl. And if you're a girl who doesn't like piss all over the toilet seat, that's fine, because that motherfucker's sitting down. We both know it. But for all the other girls watching this channel, I suggest you go and find someone maybe you don't have to scissor with. But alas, back to the title of this video. What the fuck am I doing? A, clickbaiting the shit out of you. But B, we actually do need to talk about selling, because there's going to be a point here very soon that we are going to need to sell. You are going to need to dump everything. In fact, I see the biggest crash in history coming. This is going to absolutely annihilate the crypto markets. This is going to be worse than 2020. Everything that's going to be left, it's going to look like New Orleans after Mardi Gras. Just condoms and shit and condoms and shit and condoms and shit everywhere. And people who just got done fucking and shitting covered in condoms and shit everywhere. It's just going to be terrible. You're not going to want to be there. And what I'm going to do in this video right now, before the top comes in, before it's time to sell, and as selling is on everybody's mind, as everybody's little tampon soy boy instincts are telling them this dip is kind of scary, I want to talk about how we need to actually sell in this market. And this video is going to be your guide for it months in advance before it happens, because what's about to happen is the market's going to rebound, ETH is going to skyrocket, we're probably going to see an alt season right after that. And everybody's going to get cocky as fuck, and then everyone is going to lose all their money all over again. Jokes aside, glasses off moment. And if I take the glasses off, you know I'm about to share something serious with you. Either your mom got a giant bad case of butt cancer that I have to share with you, or I'm about to tell you something that I actually want you to take to heart. 95% of people in crypto right now, even if you were up in profits, you're going to lose all your money. I did a poll last run because I was thinking to myself, you know, at least probably 50% of people in crypto make money. I asked my followers and people on crypto Twitter, how many of you guys left in profit after the last bull run? 5% of people said they did. 5% of people said they left with any significant amount of profit. 15% of people said they left with some profit. So 85% of you aren't even going to break even. You're going to be losing in loss. And what I'm going to do in this video is show you how to not fucking do that. Because trust me, when the top comes in here in the future, when it's time to sell, you're not going to want to sell. You're going to gleefully want to hold. You're going to make fun of me when I go on X and be like, hey guys, the market's a little hot. You're going to try and tear me down, come light my house on fire, and make up rumors about me that I'm shitting in the girls' room at Arby's, which frankly doesn't sound too out of character for me. But alas, jokes aside, we don't have too much time for that today. In this video, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to show you where the market is right now and why this probably is not the top. And then we're going to be talking about the rest of the video, how you need to be looking and watching out for the top, which it's going to be coming probably, I think, in the next 4 to 6 months, maybe sooner than that. But I'm going to give you all the warning signs, all the indicators, all the things you need to actually look for when the top happens. Because when we recover here and everybody gets really horny and just rabid and the rates start coming down, you're probably going to miss it just like everybody else. And I have a history of nailing these things. Particularly Cardano. I cannot wait to call the Cardano top again. I cannot wait to tell all the Cardano holders about their impending poverty. It's one of my favorite things to do every run. I literally have it marked on my calendar, call the top. Send all the Cardano holders back to their little under the staircase Harry Potter room. It's gonna be, oh, I'm getting shudders just thinking about it. But this is your guide before it happens. Let's begin. All right, gentlemen, so let's begin. Before we get going, read the disclaimer. It's written in English and legal below here. It's extremely super duper important. I actually want you to go read it, pause the video, go read it. I actually wrote it just for you. Now, we need to talk about the market right now, and specifically why this probably is not the top. Before I begin, I'm not sitting here claiming I can call tops. I'm not going to give you some TA analysis saying this is definitely when the top's going to happen. A lot of people will do that. If you want that level of bullshit and ego and nonsense, by all means, there's thousands of accounts on crypto Twitter that will tell you they can call the top, and then they will just not, and then they'll lose all their money like everybody does. I don't know anybody, I've never seen an account that can consistently always do it. And that's not the way you want to do it anyways, because if you're not thinking for yourself and you're not looking at the market and don't have a plan to exit, you're still going to miss it anyways. You're just going to ignore it and get drunk like everybody else. So please, when I get into this, I'm not saying, oh, it's going to happen exactly at 120,000, 104,000. I'm going to tell you historically what every single top has looked like. And I'm going to tell you historically what the market, what people's behavior has looked like every single time the market is super overheated. I've never seen a time where we have topped and these indicators are not there. Every single time they pop up. I've never seen us put in a high and then go back down when these indicators are missing, and they're all missing right now. So let's discuss the market real quick. What we have going on right now is a pretty much textbook crypto bull run. We've seen Bitcoin go and make its huge move. It bumped up, had its bull run. Then it's pausing out, and now a little bit of the liquidity and the money inside of Bitcoin is pouring out into Ethereum, and Ethereum's had its run. It's moved with incredible strength. If only there was someone on crypto Twitter when it was at $1,400 telling you that this was going to happen. Oh wait, literally the most followed motherfucker in all of crypto Twitter, me, was saying that the entire time. So if you've missed out on this run so far, what? You only have yourself to blame. Literally $1,400. I was there talking mad shit, saying this was going to happen. And here's probably what's going to happen next. So this rotation right here is crypto bull run 101. The caveat to this is this has been a much more longer spread out bull run. This usually happens in a much more condensed period. I think this bull run is actually just going to be much longer. If you've seen Ben from Into the Cryptoverse, he always talks about the bull runs getting longer and more elongated. I don't even know if that's what he's suggesting, but I'm going to interpret that and twist his words into matching my narrative to make myself seem smarter. So that's what I'm going to say is happening right here. Now, here's what's going to happen if we follow how bull runs move historically. And the weird thing about crypto, as random as it seems, we usually do exactly what we usually do every single run. And we're seeing the same thing as we did before. Bitcoin moves, goes up. Everybody thinks it's only going to be Bitcoin only. Then Ethereum starts to move. People start selling their Bitcoin. Even the institutions and big money is doing this now. They start selling their Bitcoin for Ethereum. Pours into here. Ethereum moves with rapid movements, and it's probably going to then bust its all-time high. I would say about 5,500, 6,000 is where it chills out once it recovers from right here. And then we're going to see all the money roll into these altcoins right here, the top 25 ones. My absolute favorites from this list right now, unfortunately, it makes my dick go back up into my body. I'm going to have to spray myself down with Windex to get clean after saying this. But Cardano is probably one of my top favorites in this. This thing's probably going to $3, $5. My other top favorite from this list is, of course, you have to roll the tongue when you say this one, or you don't seem cultured enough. It's Sue. If you say it very softly, you'll seem more intelligent. And when you go to like crypto events and everything, everybody there is like, they don't have a shirt on. They're drinking beer. Half of them you don't even see because they're about 4'11". And then all the girls come in two shapes and sizes. OnlyFans girls who are acting like crypto traders. You know, the type of girls on X who take pictures of their ass with a chart in the background. That's the best. They're the best traders online. You should follow them. And then there's Smurgles, which are just 4'11" women with the width of a silverback gorilla that only wear gray shirts with pit stains. And those women, they don't look good in yoga pants, therefore they are not good at trading. So that's your typical crypto event. But if you go to a crypto event and you look at the back corner, there's a people of culture. They all have French berets on, they're all eating baguettes, and they're in the corner just whispering to each other, Souhait, souhait. Anyways, their coin is gonna pump super hard because of the class. And I'm committing on this channel to never actually research what the fuck Sue does. I don't know what it does, but this thing pumps whenever the markets moves. Just buy it. And then AVAX, massively undervalued right now, going to run super hard. But out of these top 25 coins right here, all these things are going to move in the same exact way that ETH just moved. People thought, oh, ETH is never going to move. It's never going to happen. It's just a Bitcoin only run. You're going to see ETH run up to 6,000 and the liquidity spill out of it. And the thing about Bitcoin and the thing about ETH is their market caps are so huge that if you just take 5% out of ETH's market caps, it sends all these flying. And that's exactly what's going to happen. We're probably going to see like 10, 15% roll out of Bitcoin ETH and in these coins right here. And then they're all going to fly. Then at this point, we're going to see the more, what's the word for it? Theoretical altcoins like Tau and smaller coins start to pump really hard. And then we're going to see it spill into more, I think DeFi is going to run. And so this is going to be more the infrastructure, because what we're going to see is like Uniswap and a lot of things that are based around decentralized finance. Those are going to start running. So that's why I'm stacking up a lot of exchanges or decentralized exchanges right now. Of course, the one I'm most bullish on is Blackhole because the numbers reflect that. I'm also a founder at Black Hole, and that's just skyrocketing right now. And I think that is really oversold, especially when we get into what the coin does later in the video. But I've also stacked up some other decentralized exchanges like Gradient, and a new one, Kiwi, that I think is a big runner because of all of its privacy features. And another medium DeFi coins like Clearpool, I think, are just going to... And I'm also going to be stacking up other chains. For example, like Zig Chain right now is a really good example of another chain that could run turbo hard. And then I think during this time, we're probably going to see mainstream memes, not little ones and little shitcoin ones. I mean, big giant ones like Pudgy Penguins, which is probably going to be the best performing meme coin in this market, already has been since we called it at lows. Then what is going to happen is that is when we are going to get into shitcoin season. And so what's going to happen is we're going to see all the smaller coins, and I think the biggest ones are going to see the biggest jumps going to be in AI and RWA. But I also think another thing I'm looking at right now is just pure out infrastructure coins that actually power the real world, which is kind of RWA. A really nasty one that just dropped that powers like electricity grids and whatnot. OpenVPP is a really good example of this. There's also some robotics companies that I'm looking as well. And I think all these narratives about crypto coming and blockchaining the rest of the world is going to be super duper powerful. And you can already kind of see this because people are already starting to load back in to AI coins. You can see the second, every time the market starts to move, like one of the bigger leading AI coins, like Destra, just pumps. And people are they keep accumulating right here. And then we're also starting to see smaller coins like Graph AI, for example, just doing nuclear numbers so far. And so people are definitely starting to position and accumulate here, but we're not there yet. And so that's going to be the pattern this falls. And it's all going to then end with meme coins. So all the shitcoin, meme coin stuff we saw last year, that's probably going to happen all over again. Now, how does this all relate to selling? What I just described to you is extremely important because you need to know the pattern this market is going to follow, and it's going to repeat this pattern until the top. We're going to see Bitcoin make a move, Ethereum make a move, the top 25 coins make a move, the middle cap, more grown-up coins that are based around infrastructure make a move. Then we're going to see the smaller low cap coins, which are like the theoretical ones, AI, RWA, and I think anything that brings blockchain into the real world and our actual infrastructure in the real world, like I mentioned in electricity and robotics. And I think we'll see gaming later this year. And then we're going to see the meme coins and all the degeneracy pop up right here. And what happens here as this happens, as this rotation happens, the Bitcoin's going to peak out, ETH is going to peak out. I think you get the trend by here. What's going to happen is people are going to get more and more drunk off these gains and get more and more cocky. I know I didn't explain this very well, but when we get to the meme coin phase, people will just be making money on literally anything. The reason why meme coins pop up, especially in a clear utility run, which we're about to see, is because people get so fucking cocky that they think they can throw money in anything and make money, and they can until they can't. Now, this cycle that I just broke down to you, if we get a full bull run like we got last run, it's going to happen a few times. So for example, I'm going to use Ethereum as an example right here. We're going to look at last run. You can see we had the first move right here. People started getting crazy. Then we had the second move right here. People started getting nuts. Then we had to crash because Elon Musk tweeted something mean about Bitcoin. But then you can see we made another move right here. And we put in the final move right here. So this rotation I talked about happened multiple times. And what we're trying to do is as this rotation happens, you're going to see Bitcoin and ETH going up and down, and we're going to see micro caps and mid caps going up and down as well. And this will happen multiple times, okay? And it's going to be crazy as F. What you want to do in these periods right here is exit altcoins and the mid caps probably at these points right here, or at least try to catch the last run up. And if you were really good, you could sell your alts right here, buy them back, sell your alts right here, buy them back, sell your alts right here, buy them back. But trust me, you're not skilled enough to do that. I'm not skilled enough to do that. And anybody telling themselves they can, there's either like 1% of people that can actually do it, and the other 99% are fucking retards. So just don't do it. You watch this channel, you fall in the fucking retard category. I'm sorry. But what we're seeing right now is we're seeing this crash right now in Ethereum, and if you want to call it a crash, okay? The people who are calling a top right here, and the people are getting nervous. We just saw Ethereum go and break all-time high like 2 days ago. I cannot fathom seeing Ethereum go and break an all-time high, and then like on its first dip, its first withdrawal, you then go and sell all your coins. I don't understand the fucking logic behind it. It's like going on a date with a girl you've been trying to date for like 3 months, and you finally get the first kiss, and the first thing you do is fart in your hand and rub it in her face. Like, maybe it's the type of girl that's into that, but this is not that type of date, all right? This is a nice, proper church girl. Not your typical crypto event, smurgle kind of girl, all right? They love that stuff. That's why crypto events, everyone has fucking pink eye. All right, so regardless, I think it's a really stupid fucking idea. That's the metaphor I'm trying to make here. So Just picturing a crypto event now. Everybody at Hakkasan in Vegas at Crypto 2020, just pink eye, little 5'2" dudes running around with their 4'1" orca girlfriends. Oh God, this is why I don't attend these fucking things. Oh my God. Ugh. Some of you guys are probably getting hot thinking about that. But regardless, people are all over X right now, and they're calling the top, and then they're saying, oh, this is it, and stuff like that. So let's just talk about tops. Could this possibly be the top? I don't fucking know. I don't know anything. I am sitting here gambling. I've told you my Vegas analogy where I think there's a 50-50 chance we have the biggest bull run ever, or there's a 50-50 chance we just top out, and that's it. I've told you the risk to reward on it. If we have a bull run here, we're going to see the lower cap mid coins 20, 30x from here. If you look at the charts and everything, I'll bring up a chart right here that just backs up my narrative. By the way, charts don't mean fucking anything. It's male astrology. Anytime a person brings up a chart, it means they're usually retarded. There's like 1% of people in all of crypto that can actually do TA and read charts. Everybody else, fucking retard. You ever seen a bunch of chicks get together, do a big astrology class, and start playing their lives around it? Same exact thing. Except with charts and TA analysis, it's like a fake PhD. You have the resemblance of someone with intelligence. And so really stupid people look at these stupid people and think like, hey, that's what a smart person looks like, but it's not. So don't confuse charts with intelligence. You really should just only follow people with incredible jawlines who have a Lamborghini behind them to prove that they are extremely rich. That's how I get my content. And look, it worked out for me. But anyways, I don't know if the tops is in, and I'm not going to call the top. I'm just going to tell you what every single top ever has looked like. So when we're looking at X right now and people's behavior, and you're thinking, well, you can't use X to judge markets. You really fucking can. Like, you can actually look at people's behavior and the responses to certain opinions and judge the markets. Right now, what we're seeing is, for example, when we were at lows at 1400 ETH and I was screaming, buy ETH, buy it right now, it's going to pop back up, and then we're going to get alt season right after. People talking mad shit to me, telling me I'm insane, very grumpy, saying the bear market's just starting, I'm an idiot, we're going back below $1,000. When everybody is unanimously bearish and insulting you and trying to burn you at the stake for being bullish, that's usually the bottom. Like every single time. When Solana was crashing and we had the FTX thing, that was the behavior we saw. When everybody was selling their bags because Israel was blowing up Pakistan for the 1,000th time in the last 15 years, which makes no fucking sense. That was silly. Like, what were you doing selling there? I don't understand. Anyways, when everybody was selling there and it was all bomb out and people were getting super duper angry, it was the same exact behavior as it always was, which is why I added tons to my position, just like I did in November 2023. And whenever I saw crashes the last year or so, or the last 2 years, I've just been adding positions whenever I see this behavior. And almost every single time it was the bottom, and every single time it was somewhere near the bottom, it was a good buy. Now, right now, we are seeing what I think is kind of a middle ground. We're not seeing everybody hating and being bearish right now. We're seeing a 50-50. I've never seen a top where you could post something bullish or bearish and people go either way. That's just not what it looks like. You're not going to see people drawing up TA, making bearish arguments and getting lots of likes, or making bullish arguments and getting lots of likes, and it be a top. You're also not seeing the same type of pandemonium in social media engagement. Look, as you know, I'm an extremely humble guy. I'm not here to talk about how many followers I have, millions, how many views I get per video, more than everybody else, and how much larger my engagement is on X than every other crypto account. It's a lot. It's a lot more. I'm not here to talk about those things. What I will point out is how my account, my YouTube channel, and other closely related YouTube channels and X accounts, our engagement is a very good sign of the top. For example, if there's a raging bull run going on, I can put up a video of me reading Harry Potter and rubbing baby oil on myself, not talk about crypto at all. As long as I put crypto in the title of my videos, I will be tearing down 500, 600, 800K, a million views per video. You will see the channels underneath me that are getting about 50,000 views per video right now. They'll be getting 200,000, 300,000 views. You will see my X account and the followers on it skyrocketing. The same exact thing with other KOLs in crypto. That's not happening right now. And I know what you might say, well, Alex, maybe it's because your content is dog shit. Yes, what I'm saying is the dog shit quality of the content doesn't matter. Right now on my channel, you're seeing about 200, 300K views per video. And I actually have to make kind of good content right now to get the clicks. In a bull run, I can just put up dog shit. Like, go watch some of my videos from the last bull run. They're getting like 800,000 views. They are just like nothing. Just like blurry iPhone videos. I'm like, yeah, I think the market's probably going to do pretty well. 800K views. Doesn't fucking matter. Instant clicks. And that's because when you see this happening, this is the masses running in the crypto, and this is usually the final phase of the bull run. You can go check out the views on my videos, and if you look at the views on my videos and other channels as well, they're just more pronounced than my channel because I'm famous as fuck. You're going to see they align perfectly with tops and bottoms. Perfectly to a T. We're not seeing that right now. We're seeing search volumes start to pop back up in Google on crypto, but what you're going to see at the tops is one, mass amounts of engagement on YouTube and X. You're going to see follower counts exploding as everyone their dog starts to get back into it. The number two thing you're going to see at the top is you're going to see aggressive bullishness. You're going to see very mean bullishness. So at the recent bottom, and a lot of bombs, we've seen a lot of crashes the last 2 years. Whenever I post anything bullish, massive insults like, he's an idiot, bro. Like going into like aggressiveness, pitchforks out. You're going to see the flip side when we're at the top of this market. So for example, last year at the top of memes when Trump was happening and Libra or whatever, the Lira, whatever the dumb shit was going on right there, you could not even post, hey, I'm kind of bearish on memes. This seems a little overwhelming without people tearing apart. Last run, when Bored Apes were selling at $450,000 a pop, a little ape that people got nearly for free was selling for $450,000 a pop. If you even hinted that NFTs might be top, you would be chased off Twitter. Like the apes would get together and make sure no one interacted with your NFT projects, dumped anything that you kind of liked. It was nasty. And everyone would make fun of you and post events like their sweaty Bored Ape events where it's all dudes and like one girl who's trying to like grow a following by wearing a low-cut shirt and shilling shit coins. That's trust me, if you see a hot girl at any crypto events, trust me, she's shilling shit coins. They don't want to be there. It's just so much damn more profitable, and they don't have to show as much ass as OnlyFans. There is no reason why any woman of any reasonable behavior would be at a crypto event with 99.9% sweaty 5'2" dudes other than to dip into their wallets. So that aside, this is why all the women in crypto are going to get together and cancel me by this run. We got to keep the chicks off this channel. Keep it secret, guys. No girls allowed. I'm going to get in trouble. But seriously, you see them all posting pictures of the event, just making fun and tearing up anybody that was bearish. Then they lost all their money. They lost millions and millions and zillions of dollars. And you saw the same thing about all the coins, everything. So at the top of this run, what you're going to see on X is you're going to see people mercilessly ripping people apart at tops. You will not be allowed to be bullish. You will be chased off X. If you are afraid to post anything bearish, like you think the market's overheated, you think it's getting kind of nasty, and you're afraid to post it, trust me, we're probably near the top. And even if we're not exactly at the top and you miscall it by like 20%, we're getting close to it. There's no way we're not. And everybody's going to think the opposite. If you can go back just a year, the pure ego and cockiness at the top of the meme coin run, it's going to look just like that. You're going to see KOLs, everybody that's never even been in crypto, they're all going to come flying back into here. You're going to see celebrities getting into it, everybody getting in on it. That is when you need to start dumping aggressively. So let's talk about how your selling should actually look here. Now, before I get into how your selling should actually look, the one thing I want to point out is you might notice I didn't mention a particular price where I think we should all be exiting at. I think ETH is probably going to get past $6,000, and then I don't really know where it's going to go from here. It could go to $20,000, it could go to $8,000, $6,000 could be the top. I don't know, and this is such a dangerous way to be judging where you want to sell at. Here is why. Because last run, everybody basically had in their head that ETH was going to $10,000 or at least $8,000. And so everybody marked in their mental calendars that, hey, once it hits 10,000, then we're going to sell. This is how all of crypto works. Everybody makes this big pie in the sky judgment, and then everybody in the back of their head is waiting for this to happen. And then what happens is this every single time. So everybody's like, okay, it's getting to 10K, 100%. And then what happens actually is it gets to like 7.5K, and then everybody turbo dumps right here. And this is about 5% of people, by the way. All right, this is like the 5% of smart people. And everybody gets stuck waiting for 10K, and they think it's another dip, and then they just laugh. They laugh, and then just... Okay. And so also when the top comes, a lot of people think it's going to be dramatic. They think there's going to be huge euphoria. So the thing that killed everybody last run is they thought we were going to see a blow off top, all right, where Bitcoin literally doubled, because that's what we saw in 2017. I know this looks very small, but in like the span of like a week or something, Bitcoin doubled. And so everybody thought we were going to see that last run. And so whenever we got to these points right here, what happened is everybody was waiting for a blow off top, and they think they were going to be able to just casually walk at a market like they're collecting a welfare check and just comfortably walk the door. What happened is that didn't come, and then everybody started laughing when we saw this first dip right here. Let's go through right here-ish. Okay, these dips right here. Everybody just started laughing, like, oh, I'll be right back. 30%. They started showing the charts, like, just zoom out, and then it just didn't. So what I'm trying to stress to you here is the top is not going to look like a top. It's going to look like any other dip in crypto, and everyone's going to be laughing about it. So don't expect some big dramatic moment. What's going to happen is it's going to look like every other dip you've seen, and then it's just going to keep dipping. What you want to look for is the pure outright ego and absolute viciousness towards anyone that's slightly bearish. So like at these points, last run, I didn't nail the top. I'm going to tell you how to sell in a smart way. But I was right here and I was still kind of new. And so we got to this top right here and this first dip happened and everybody laughed about it, and then it just went and I got to experience the actual feeling of terror in crypto when you are super overexposed. I had way too much money in the market and seeing your net worth get cut in half and it looks like it's going to zero. And what a lot of people do at this point right here is they sell. I sold about right here and then I came to my senses and bought all back in right here. Then it went up and did this again, and I was in all the mid caps and low caps. I made a shit ton of money, and I saw the same type of egocentrical behavior happening again. The same outright cockiness. We were at 60,000. Everyone's like, wait for at least 90,000 and dump on all the normies while they're looking for 100K. No. Trust me. All of us watching this video are fucking normies. Unless you've made $1 billion in crypto, you are the normies. I've not made $1 billion in crypto. We are the fucking normies that get dumped on. You need to realize that first and foremost. Now, when this happened, I saw the same fucking behavior. I sold everything about right here, starting right here, and then sold about right here. So I got out in this little curve right here. I didn't nail the top because that's not what we're trying to do here. Then, just like before, it just started dipping, and then it just got really dark and bad, okay? And I bought all my altcoins and everything and got back in Bitcoin about right here. And altcoins were at phenomenal prices right here. Bitcoin was already moving up. So as you can see, one thing I want to point out is that you're not going to nail the top, and the top is going to look like every other day in crypto. It's not going to be dramatic. The next thing I want to point out is we're not trying to nail tops and bottoms. We're just trying to overall judge the sentiment correctly and then be exiting at pretty much the right time. Not exactly the right time, but pretty much. So if we want to get within 25% of the top and then be taking profits that entire time and then be selling when it's already on its way down. All right. So you want to be selling, if I can zoom in even more. I can't work this. You want to be selling throughout this curve right here. All right, motherfucker. And then when we buy back in eventually, you're not going to want to catch the bottom, especially on the big crash. You're just going to, like, for example, when I nailed the Ethereum bottom recently, that was just a good judgment. I thought anything below 2K was a fantastic fucking buy price. Thus, I was buying up alts and Ethereum and everything below 2K, not just at $1,400. I was screaming buy all the way from 1,900 to 1,400. So again, we're not trying to nail the bottom. We're trying to catch the momentum of the trends as they shift back around. We're not always going to catch the exact right moment, but we'll catch roughly enough of the moment to make really good returns on both ends. So how do we do this? We're going to see, again, Bitcoin do its fucking move. We're going to see ETH do its move, and then we're going to see alts and mid caps do its move. We're probably going to see this rotation one time and then a crash. Okay, so I think we're probably going to see an alt season right now, and then a big crash that looks like the run might be over. Now, from my perspective, I've been doing this and I've been in since really big lows. I might just exit everything right there. I don't really need to hold to the tippity top of this run to make a fuck ton of money. I've already made a ton of money from the position we're at right now. If I just get a 3, 4, 5x in this thing, I'm buying Wyoming. So that's where I'm at right now. If you're wanting to play this market, there's two things you can do that I'm going to be doing. One, you're probably going to want to take a lot of profits on this first way up if you've been in it for a long time. If you're still new to this, you're probably going to wait or want to wait for this pattern to repeat 3 times. Why 3 times? I don't fucking know. The deeper you get into it, what's going to happen in these bull runs is we're going to see this pattern repeat over and over again. And it's kind of like playing Russian roulette. It's probably not going to be the top the first time we see this pattern. It might be the top the second time we see this pattern. If we make it to 3 times, it's going to be a problem. So I would probably be aiming for the second time you see this pattern if you're looking to maximize profits. So what will I be doing and what's the strategy to use? So if you've been deep in since November 2023, you're probably just going to take your chips right here. But as we go back down, you're going to have a lot of chips and dry powder. And what's going to happen in crypto is we're going to see lots of mini narratives start to spin up. We're going to see things get really hot. I think AI and RWA going to get really hot. I think infrastructure in the real world is going to get really hot. I think gaming is going to get really hot. And just like we saw meme coin narratives, for example, like one week dogs were hot. The next week cats were hot. Next week, like, I don't fucking know how it works. Dead squirrels were hot. You're going to see that thing in narratives in crypto because what happens is the money starts trying to PvP itself in the low caps, and so keeps running the different narratives. It makes money here, and then it runs to another narrative, makes money, and then runs to another narrative and makes money. And so you see this kind of like civil war happening in the mid and lower coins. If you're smart and on the cutting edge of things, you can catch this really quickly. And so you take your initial profits here, and then you play this civil war game during these things right here without exposing yourself too much. So for example, right here, last run, I was able to make an absolute killing during this period right here by playing in the smaller and mid caps. Okay. And so like in this period of right here, I made more money than the entire run all combined because I got into all the low caps and everything right here, these 20, 30X, and I made a ton of money right here. And then I mostly got out of the market around the top. Didn't nail it. Also, when you start seeing this behavior happen, so let's look at, like, for example, the Bored Ape saga. And so we saw Bored Apes mint for $0, and then they peaked at $450. Now, a lot of times on the way to $450, right after the mutants dropped, right after something else dropped, ApeCoin dropped, it looked like the top was in. So it was at like 350 and then 250. And so you could have easily missed the top right here on these things. What I want to stress is that we don't ever want to be selling all at once because of this to optimize profits. Obviously, if you just get out in massive profit, take it. That's fine. Like, you don't have to maximize profits. Profit is profit. What you really want to be doing is when you see the market behavior starting to get ridiculous, which it was ridiculous between 250 and 350. Just like, it was like really cool and hypey at 250, but it was like neat and like cutting edge. Like, look where the future's going. At 350 and above, it was just like 5'2" dudes smelling their farts, insulting everybody, deeming they were just the new royalty of the world. It was time to sell. So from these points right here of Eminem going on stage and rapping and Justin Bieber buying and everything, you should just be selling and then be like, you know, I'm not going to catch the top, but whatever. Even at 450K, like right here, maybe you sell like a little bit of your position and it starts going down, and a lot of people are going to tell you like, hold, and you just be like, even if we go higher, it, I don't care. That's what you have to have. That's the attitude you have to have, or you're going to end up holding to zero. All right. And if you have that attitude where like, oh, it's going to go higher, you're never going to sell right here. And a lot of people just go through this entire thing right here. And it's very hard to actually avoid. 85% of people don't leave with any kind of profit whatsoever. They lose money. All right. There's a reason for that. It's because this is very hard. This is not, you're going to think it's easy when it happens. It's not going to be. All right. And you're not even going to want to mention it to any of your friends that are in the space because everyone will make fun of you. You'll get chased off Twitter. So this is the kind of selling pattern that you want to be going through when you start to see this behavior to pop up. Now, again, I'm not mentioning prices or any TA because the prices in TA do not consistently tell you what's going on. For example, we've seen Bitcoin and ETH make massive moves while altcoins look terrible. And so like the prices indicate that like altcoins will never run. And that's not true, because if you look at Bitcoin before, like the price indicated that ETH would never run, and the TA on ETH looked terrible. And TA is always going to look and interpret all these things way too late and way too not in a clear way. The number one thing that's going to predict it is usually human behavior and how their minds are thinking and what they're thinking. And if you look at X and you look at the behavior of normal people on the internet, you can kind of get a pretty good gauge on what is going on in the head of the mass crypto mind. Because what we're trying to do is we're not trying to read price analysis or take some Wall Street reports. We're trying to read the human mind behind crypto. That's why I don't look at charts or anything like that, because I used to, and I was like, oh shit, the only thing that really matters is what people are thinking, because nothing in crypto actually does anything. There's like 5 coins that actually do shit. All of it is human emotion and hype. All of it is human emotion and hype. So the thing you need to get good at reading is human emotion and hype. And that's it. If you can do that, you're probably going to do pretty well. So that's what I'm looking for in the market. That's what I'm going to be selling, and that's what I'm going to be gauging it off of. Price prediction wise, I think we get to maybe 6,000, 8,000 ETH. I think we're going to see alts, the mid caps 3, 4, 5x from here. I think we're going to see the low caps 10, 15x, maybe 20x from here. I think we're going to see all those patterns that I just described emerge, and I think you need to be working in those kind of selling strategies that I talked about. And then finally, what to do with your money afterwards. I'm thinking, just let me know in the comments if you want to see this, but there's so many ways you can take your money out of crypto and just get like a 5% APY. So basically, if let's say you made 100K, you can get 5K back a year forever. There's also stuff like, for example, Black Hole, which I'm a founder of, so full transparency, but it also has the best APY on the market right now in terms of DEXs. For example, like you can buy like 5K Black, the token, and then within a year, you can make like 15K back on the token pretty much passively just by voting and interacting with the platform. That's why everybody's like really confused about Black right now, because they tried to speculate it. Of course, it's bouncing up and down, but like the reason you want to hold black isn't to speculate on it and sell it like a coin. You want to hold it because you can actually do this. Like there's no treasury or stock or passive investment that's going to allow you to just farm money like that and make like a 2 to 3x on your money no matter what. Of course, if black crashes, the market crashes, that's not going to happen if black gets way over speculated on. But right now, like people are buying black and on pace to make like a 2-3x ROI on it, just voting every single week with it. So I might talk about that in future videos, but you need to understand there's all sorts of cool places you can just go and store the money. So my big point right here is after you exit crypto, you might want to still play with it a little bit, but take it off the table, give it to a financial advisor. Like, trust me, you're probably not smart enough to manage a stock portfolio. Hold it in cash and just go and lend the money. Get a 3-5% APY on it or whatever yield you can from money, or use farming techniques like Black Hole or other exchanges or DEXs or other lending protocols in crypto to make passive money on the crypto. Don't put it back into the market. The number one reason most people get wrecked is they go and make their first buck and they just keep doubling down afterwards. They get really excited. They make their first ROI in crypto and they think they're smart. Then they make more money. They think they're really smart. Then they make a lot of money and then they don't think they can fail. And so everything they exit the market for on the way up, they put back into the market to double down on, and then they put in more of their money, and then they lose all their money right there. I've seen this happen so many times. This is actually universally what happens to almost every single new person that gets excited about crypto and gets really involved with it. All your friends, all the people you know that get into crypto and then like really start joining all the discards and getting engaged with it and like start talking crypto even though it's their first bull run ever. This is what they do every time. 0% of them make money, and it will be you have a 0% chance of making money if that's how you behave as well. The only type of people I actually see in their first bull runs make money are people who don't give a shit about crypto. They just buy Ethereum at like $1,000. For example, my dad bought Ethereum at $1,000 and then like he saw the price at 4,500. He's like, oh, that seems pretty high. And he just sold. He didn't care if it was the top or anything. He wasn't even like following crypto. He just sold and did like a 4x when almost everybody I know that got like super engaged into crypto and was like reading all the charts and learning TA, they all lost their money because they were super bullish and way too drunk at 4,500 and they all lost their money. All my 70-year-old dad out traded all of them while like not even watching the markets. So those are all just some things to keep in mind. So gents, what I want to do in this video is just really go over everything you need to be thinking about when it comes to selling, because everybody's thinking about selling right now that Ethereum's way up and everyone's getting kind of nervous because they're in a lot of profit. Is it the top right now? I don't fucking know. I really don't think it is. And I don't think any of the indicators that usually indicate a top are there. I think using social indicators is a much better way to recognize tops than specific price goals or TA. I don't think those ever work. And I think they get people in more trouble than ever. You're going to see people that call the right tops and the right prices, but it's a survivor's bias thing that you're seeing. For every one person that calls the top, they probably have like 20 other calls where they didn't call the top correctly. And so it's just a random thing. And the people that do call the top, they're going to get pushed to the top of the algorithms and everything because everyone's like, wow, they called the top. But truly, you're going to see so many top calls, so many price predictions, so many different views on it that it just, you can't go and pinpoint where it's going to be, whether you're using TA or some genius price picking. You can look at people's behavior and tell if the market is over hot or if it's overheated. And I don't think the market's overheated right now. The only thing that's going to send this market going backwards is going to be some huge financial black swan event, which I do think is coming in the next 6 months or so. I think we're going to see the biggest crash in history in stocks, in crypto, in assets, because everything's way oversold. I think we're going to see inflation come back, but it's not going to keep everything going up this time. There's going to be something bad that happens. So I would plan accordingly. That's what I'm looking for as well. That's my thoughts on everything, selling, everything like that. I don't have anything else to add. Goodbye.